Hey guys, it's Roger, and guess what? It's time for story time. I'm going to apologize now if I sound a bit sick, because I am a bit sick. But anyway, this story time is going to be more of a collection of small stories. I decided I was going to talk about all of the random crazy things that happened at the apartment I used to live at. Oh, and quick question. Um, I was thinking about doing this with like a video commentary. Like, should I do a video commentary or should I keep the fire? I mean, just let me know what you think about that. So anyway, I moved into this apartment like a year and a half ago. It was in a town called Ambridge, which was the midway point between Pittsburgh and Beaver, which is another town. And I was going to school in Pittsburgh, and my one roommate, Mark, he was going to school in Beaver. So it was kind of like, you know, nice midway point for everybody. So we looked at the place, and the town, was kind of run down, was kind of ghettoish, but it wasn't too bad. So we moved into this big apartment building that had like 5 floors in it. After we moved in, I noticed pretty quickly that we were the only white people in this entire building. Like the only ones. Everybody was black, and there was like an Asian family. I'm not racist, or wouldn't have moved there, but it just kind of struck me as being a bit odd. So, not too long after we moved in, like we moved into apartment 302. Not too long after we moved in, my friend called me one day. He's like, "Dude, you will never guess what I found online." And so I go to his house and I take a look, and he got on one of those Megan's Law websites to find like, it'll tell you where sex offenders live, and he found that the guy living in apartment 303. Now, keep in mind that ours was 302. Um, he was a convicted rapist. His name was Greg. He asked me for if he could borrow a piece of paper one day, actually. Um, so that became like a big joke for us. Um, Granted, in his defense, it was 15 years ago, but I still live next to a convicted rapist. Some other things that have happened. Oh, the one time I came home and like I got off the bus from school, and our apartment was on a hill. So in the back, the parking lot had like a drop off. There was like this 5-6 foot drop off that was right beside the parking lot. I came home one day, and there's just cop cars everywhere, and I was like, "Oh God, they raided it." And I get closer, and the Asian family, not to further any stereotypes or anything, but they almost drove their car off of that ledge. They got it like stuck dangling over this like 5-6 foot drop. And like the way the car was positioned, they had to like drift into it. They had to like Tokyo drift into this little wall to get their car over it. And that wasn't the first time I came home and saw a bunch of cop cars. Like the one time I came home and there was at least 20 cop cars. I think I counted like 22 cop cars all around all around our apartment. And I found out later that it was because they did a raid. This one kid that moved in, he actually talked to me quite a bit. His name was Shane, and he was this white guy. He moved in, and he was just a big crackhead. Like he had the teeth missing, completely cracked out all the time. And he talked to me like every time he saw me. He's like, "Dude, did you see that raid? Dude, they raided my apartment. Like they busted in." And what I did is I wasn't in the apartment at the time, so like when I saw they busted in, I just casually turned around and I walked away, and this one cop tried to stop me, and I was like, "No, I'm not with them," and I ran past him, and I jumped down the stairs and ran past a bunch more cops, and I got away. And I actually talked to him later, and he told me the same story, but in that story this time he leapt out the window onto a cop car and ran away that way. So I'm not sure exactly which version of the story I should believe, but um, like the apartment got raided. I was like, well, did they find anything? He's like, oh, they found 10 grams of crack on my mom, so she might be going away for a little while. And like, what do you say to that when someone says their mom has 10 grams of crack and is going to jail? Um, so that was Shane, and I seriously bumped into him a whole bunch of times, and like he actually informed me there was this one guy that lived at the apartment, like this bigger dude. He had dreadlocks and drove. It was like a decent car, but the rims on it had to have been a couple $1,000s. Like these rims were ridiculous. And the one day I was just like chatting with Shane, and he's like, "Dude, that guy, he's like the biggest supplier for this entire area, like supplying heroin and crack. I don't know if they did anything more than that, but according to Shane, that guy was like this huge dealer that dealt solely out of this area. So that was definitely something that kind of showed me what our building was really like. And some some things were even worse than we or like different than we had actually originally thought. Probably like the most prime example of this was my birthday. I planned a party for a bunch of friends to come over, and we were just gonna like drink socially and have fun. And what like around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we had just a couple people had come over by then, and we went outside to smoke. And just for the record, I have quit. Um, I know a lot of people were asking about that, but I have quit. And but we went outside to smoke, and there was an ambulance and a couple cop cars there. Again, and while we were out there smoking, uh, we saw this 2-year-old kid get wheeled out on a stretcher. He didn't look too bad, but uh, it was just kind of like, what is going on? And so we go back inside, and we looked at the news later, and this dad beat his 2-year-old almost to death with a belt. Actually, I don't know if he died or not. They just said critical condition. Beat him almost to death with a belt because the kid peed on the floor. And so we were like, what? We were there for that. Uh, like he tried to say the kid slipped in the bathtub, but everybody knew what really happened. And so, like, also later, like we went outside again, and we see this car pull up, and this guy gets out, like walks out of the building, goes up to the car, and talks to the guy for like a minute or so, and then he goes back inside, and he comes out with this girl, and the girl like goes up to him and says, "Hey, baby," and gets in the car with him, and we're like, "Holy shit! We just saw, uh, like a prostitute get sold." So that was just like more about the building that we weren't we didn't have any idea what was really going on. And then we moved out after a while. I've got tons more stories about it, but the commentary's over. Like I said, let me know what you think about video commentary or just the fire. And here's a funny picture of me at Kennywood. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.